The last thing we're going to do now is look at styling what we've created just to make it look a little bit prettier and a little bit more in line with your own branding. So at the moment you can see we did some very basic styling on our text that we added to the page, but the ratings form that we created, it's sitting over here on the left hand side. It works fine, but it doesn't look the best, and we've just got this sort of plain looking button and everything. It'd be nice if we could center that under the headings and maybe change the appearance of it a little bit. And I'll also show you how you can change these. Instead of having numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we could change that to some icons or to some images. So we're going to go back into Forminator now, and back into the back end here, into our forms, and we're going to edit this one here, which is the one with our ratings in it. And you'll see on the left hand side we've got an option here for appearance. So there's a couple of basic things that you can do to start with. These won't make a whole lot of difference to the form that we're editing just because we're working with one simple radio field, but just to show you the difference, you can go up here and click preview and you'll be able to see what that change is going to make to your form. So you can see it's changed the thickness of the borders just here. I'm going to select the material one here because that's got the least amount of formatting involved. Again, you can't actually see much of a change there. And what we're going to do is come down and change the colors. So you can see here that there's a colors option. You can use the theme colors or some default colors, and you can also click here to customize the colors. I'm not going to go through every single option in here, but you can definitely do that in your own time, and you'll be able to continuously click on this preview button to see what those changes are making. Again, in this particular form, it's not going to make a huge difference because you've only got one radio button there to change. So that's why I'm going to come straight in here to the radio and checkbox option. Click on that drop down there, and then you can see these are the options that we can change. The default is what you see when you're looking at the form. This is the default view. And then you've got the checked view, which is obviously when you've selected an option, what will happen to that little checkbox or that radio. And then if there's an error, this is the color that will show. So for the default, rather than having this border color as gray, you can click on select. Again, you can type in your custom color for your branding if you know what that is. If you don't know what it is, you can play around with these little sliders and toggles and find the color that you think works best for what you're trying to achieve. And you can make them transparent if you want to as well. Select the color that you want, and if I preview now, you should be able to see we've got that yellowy kind of color has gone to the border of the checkbox. And if we change the color that it is when it's checked, let's change that to maybe just a darker color here. Try and make it something that's a little bit more obvious. The icon color, let's change that as well. I'm going to just copy that code there and paste that into here so it's the exact same color. The image background, let's change that from a pale blue to more of a yellowy orangey color. Now let's see what difference that's made. So you can see now it's changed the color when we're selecting it. And if we update that, you'll be able to see those changes on the live form as well. And the last thing I'll change is the submit button. So that's currently set to blue. Let's just change that for the sake of it. Let's go with this color here. It's not the most pretty color in the world, but it's just for an example to show you. So the default color will be that sort of greeny color there. And when they hover over the button, let's change that color to yellow with a black text. The text is probably already black, so let's actually change the text to yellow and the background to black, just so you can really see the difference of what's happening on the hover. And focus as well, we'll do the same thing, change some colors around here, make that black and choose a completely different color just so we can see what's going on. So I'm going to just update it. Let's have a look in the preview. You can see that it's changed the color to that greeny color. It's got the black writing, and when we hover over it, it changes to the yellow. And when we click on it, it's got the blue text. So you can see that's the three different options we had there. This is the default, the hover, and then the active color is when you click on it. So that's what you can do if you want to update colors and change it to look a little bit more like your branding. and that's a pretty good place to start. So now let's just save that by clicking update, and we're going to have another quick look at that on the live page just to see that our changes have worked. So we're going to come back here to our page and view our page. And you can see those changes have taken effect. So that's great. That's exactly what we wanted. Now what I want to do is bring all of this across into the center. So to do that, to start with, we're going to actually edit this page. So we'll click on Edit with Elementor. And we're going to change the alignment to the center for this entire row that we're working with. So we click on the pink border here, make sure that that's selected, and let's move everything across to center aligned. So you can see that's brought that across to the middle for us. And that's looking a lot better, but what I'm not happy about is having this Leave Feedback button aligned on the left. There isn't anything we can do within the Elementor page to change that alignment because that alignment is set within Forminator. It's within the form itself. So this here, this pink border here, is for our shortcode. We've got our shortcode in there, so there's nothing really, not much else we can do. We've got some options here where we can change some padding and things like that. But even if I go along and change all of these things in here, it's not going to make any difference to the alignment of this submit button. But I'm going to publish that as it is for now because that's at least brought everything into the middle for us. Now we're going to go back to our Forminator form and see what we can do about this Leave Feedback. So we come down here, Forminator, and go into Forms. Now, I know from experience that Forminator don't actually have a way that you can align the Submit button using any of their options here in the appearance. Even in the layout, there's nothing where you can specifically change the button. So what we're going to do is add in some custom CSS. You can see there's an option here, custom CSS. So that's going to enable you to do some custom styling on your form that is beyond what is offered here in their standard options. So to do that, we're going to click on Enable Custom CSS. And you'll see here we can basically type away whatever we want, but we don't know what we need to type in. However, if you head to the course page, you'll be able to find the code that you require to put in here, and all you need to do is copy and paste that. If you come into your course and come down to this styling lesson, you'll be able to see we've got the custom code here. So you can select it and copy it, or you can click on the copy button over here, copy that code, and let's come back to our form and paste that code in there. So I'm going to hit Control V on the keyboard. You can see that's posted it in. So what that's telling us to do is to change the width of the button to 80%. We're making it a little bit wider just to give it a little bit more style. And we're putting a left and right padding or margin on that so that it centers the button. Now when we click Update and preview our form, we should be able to see that our feedback form, that our submit button has now come into the middle, and it's a lot wider now. You can see that as well. It's actually taking up 80% of the width of this space here. At the moment, it doesn't look great. We've got these buttons aligned to the left and the button aligned in the center. But when we come across to our live page, and let's just view that page, we should find that everything is aligned really nicely. And that's because on our Elementor page, we aligned this in the middle, and it aligned our ratings buttons really well, but it was the Leave Feedback button that was on the left. But now with that CSS code that we've added, it's actually brought that into the center for us. So that's looking a lot better just to start with. And you can see how if you were to add your own branding colors in here, that it's going to make a big difference. And it's starting to look like your branding already. So then all you've got to do is worry about formatting if you want to put in a border color, a border or a background color, add in some imaging, anything along those lines. So the last thing I'm going to do is show you how to change this. Instead of being a number system with a checkbox there, or a radio button, I'm going to change that to be some images. So the typical ratings sort of smiley face icons that you see around the place, we're going to change to those. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's go back into our form, and we're going to go back to the form fields, and we've got our radio option here. click on that to edit. Now there's an option here that says enable images. So we're going to select that, and that's now given us this option here where we can upload an image. So now what we can do is upload the smiley face emoji icons that I have created earlier. You can certainly go and find some online, but just make sure that you're not breaching any copyright by taking them from somewhere that you don't have the right to do so. So you can go into stock images like Adobe Stock and download some from there, create your own, whichever way you would like to go. But we click on upload image, and now it's going to allow us to drag and drop into here, or you can upload files into here and drop in the images that you want to use. Now I've got my images ready to go in another screen that you can't see off to the side here. So I'm just going to click on my images, my little icons, and drag them across and drop them into here. When I let that go, it's going to upload those images for me. Now I'm just going to go back out because I can't remember which one we were at. We've got very poor. So I'm going to upload the image now for the very poor option, which is our little angry icon here, and click select. Come down and do the same for all of these. The next one is here, middle one, and we've got our good, and then lucky last we've got our very happy little green guy here. And there is one more thing I'm going to change, but let's just apply that and have a look at what it's done to start with. So you can see now we've got our faces here, but we've also still got these little icons. So we're going to remove those. The other thing I want to do is I want to change the order of it. I want my green to be at the front, so I want the happy option first. So let's go back into our radio option and just drag the order of these to change them. I'm going to do this to make it so that it's a little bit easier to see them all. So we're going to drag and reorder our options like this. Perfect. And now what we want to do is make it so that we don't see these numbers. You do actually have to have something entered in there. If I delete the number 5, it won't allow me to save that change because it wants there to be a label in there. So we leave that as the number 5, come into the settings, and now what we want to do is we want to hide the radio button. So we click on hide, click apply, let's preview it again, and you can see now we've lost those little radio buttons and we've got our images or our icons, and when we hover over it you can see which one we've selected. It's taken that color that we set up earlier, and that's looking pretty good now. And again, it's not aligned in the middle in this preview, but I know that when we go to the live page it will be aligned the way we want it. So let's just go there and have a look to make sure. I'm going to refresh this page, and there we go. We've got our little smiley face icons that people can click on and leave their feedback. Now, if you would like to create your own custom icons to use here, your own little smiley face icons, I've actually supplied some for you in the course content. So you can download some plain yellow icons to use as your smiley face rating icons. I've also created a video on how to create your own custom icons using these smiley faces here, but what you'll be able to do is create your own color background for the circles, for the little faces, and you might like to do that using your own branding colors or getting as creative as you like. So there's another very, very short course to show you how to do that, and it's all done for free using Canva and LunaPic. So go in and check that out if you'd like to get a little bit creative and customize your rating form even further. So that's it. Congratulations on completing this course. You've now learned how to create a fully branded and functional Google review capture system that aligns perfectly with your business goals. So from installing Forminator to designing a custom feedback forms and styling them to match your branding, you've built a system that is not only going to encourage positive reviews, but also provide you a private channel for constructive or negative feedback that comes through. So with the finishing touches of integrating your branding colors and icons, your form hopefully now looks as polished and professional as your business does. And this final detail will ensure that you have a seamless experience with your customers while reinforcing your brand identity. So remember, this system is not just about collecting reviews, it's about building trust and improving customer satisfaction and showcasing the best of what your business has to offer. So as you move forward, don't forget to test your processes regularly and monitor the trends and make adjustments as you need to keep things running smoothly. You'll always find that there's things that you need to change along the way to improve on processes based on feedback from your clients and from your employees as well. So thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'm excited to see how you use this system to grow your business and strengthen your online reputation. So I hope this has helped take you one step closer from turning your vision into impact.